My name is Andrew Swayze, and welcome to part 1 of my core values series. Why am I sharing my core values? Generally speaking, my goal with this channel is to build a community of like-minded people. So, for transparency's sake, I'm laying it all out at the beginning. I want you to know who I am and who I strive to be. Put another way, this YouTube channel is my ship, and my core values are the compass guiding it in the direction of a better life, for you and myself. So after watching this video, you can decide if this route is the same one that you're on, at least the one that you aspire to get on. And if not, it's all good. I'm not here to change your mind. How do I define core values? To me, core values are the essential qualities of character I aim to live my life by. From a philosophical standpoint, they're axiological, meaning that they are the qualities I value most and deem worthwhile, desirable, and important. I also think of them as the yardstick of congruency. As the famous psychologist Carl Jung is quoted, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." This leads us into my first core value, integrity. To me, to have core values is simply the desire to live in integrity. It's kind of like a meta value, or the value of having core values. But in order to be in integrity, requires your actions to match your thoughts and the words that come out of your mouth. This is where the literal root of the word integrity comes from, integer, which is a whole number and is derived from the Latin language meaning intact, whole, or complete. When you act in integrity, it means that you're acting in a complete or whole form where your thoughts, words, and actions match each other. So when you state to yourself in the world what you're all about, every action you take becomes a choice to live life in integrity. And even if you keep your values to yourself and nobody else knows, there'll always be at least one person that knows. That person is you. Which leads us into my next core value, honesty. Honesty is simply the act of being truthful. Truthful with others, but most importantly, truthful with yourself. I like to think of it as the underlying structure that creates the house of integrity. You really can't have one without the other. So to come back to the core values that you say are important to you, if you choose to ignore them, you're essentially lying to yourself. And you have to live life knowing you weren't true to yourself, which the thought of would be most unbearable. At least it would be for me. And to be devil's advocate, this is not to say you can't make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But how you respond to and act in spite of them is what reveals your true character. So being truthful with oneself is the basis for being truthful with others. And when you're truthful with others, you can create mutually beneficial relationships resulting in positive sum gains, which is what I want for you and I. So my next core value is responsibility. When I think of responsibility, I think of it in the context of oneself. Specifically, the act of taking ownership over how one lives their life despite their circumstances. It's a perspective on life that states your experience of your circumstances is directly influenced by your locus of control. Do you experience life as happening to you, or do you experience life as actively creating it? This perspective can be very difficult for some people to accept because they were placed into extremely disadvantaged situations, no fault of their own. And I have compassion for them. But to blame outside circumstances or others only disempowers the individual. It takes all of your power away from you and your ability to realize that you have an active role in your own life. You don't get to choose the hand you're dealt, but you do get to choose how you play it. To take ownership of your life requires honesty with oneself, like I previously mentioned. But it also takes courage, which is my next core value. When your core values are clear and you realize you're an active participant in your life, you begin to imagine a better future. A future where you're living out your dreams, an ideal life. And when this happens, a gap begins to appear. A gap between the person you are today and the person you desire to be in the future. Within that gap contains all of the uncertainties of how you'll get from point A to point B. And those uncertainties stoke fear inside of you. That fear is the voice inside of your head that says, "That's too difficult." Or, "What happens if I fail?" Or, If I change, what will others think of me? This is the part of you that's scared, and this is where courage comes in. The way I see courage is it's the ability to take action in spite of fear. For example, for me to publicly share my core values in this video has taken a lot of courage. I don't think I've ever been this vulnerable about sharing these concepts publicly in my life, but I have reflected on it, and I'm at a place in my life where the fear of public scrutiny is far less than the fear of not putting this message out and pursuing my mission of helping more people live healthier and more vibrant lives. So, as a practice, when I notice fear creeping in, I'll lean into it. I ask myself, what part of me is this fear coming from? And after I identify it, I decide my next action to take. And I do it in spite of my fear. Which leads us into my next core value, growth. The inevitable product of being courageous and working towards a better future is self-growth. When you've stretched yourself past what feels comfortable, the end result can be an increased confidence or a greater capacity for handling the unknown. Now, this doesn't always mean taking action leads to your desired outcome right away. In fact, most times it doesn't. But it may teach you lessons along the way to the desired outcome. And this is where reflection and perspective are essential, because many people may perceive a shortcoming of their desired outcome as a failure and give up at the first layer of resistance or adversity. But if you allow yourself perspective to shift from failure of accomplishment to a lesson learned, you allow yourself space for growth and evolve as an individual for the better while you continue on the path towards your desired outcome. Like bricks stacking on top of each other, each lesson builds upon itself and creates a solid foundation of confidence and resilience. To reap the benefits of self-growth, you must take consistent action, which is the essence of my next core value, discipline. Self-discipline is when consistent and aligned action is pointed at who you desire to be or what you desire to achieve. It's the ability to show up every day and put your best foot forward, in spite of your current situation or how you may feel at that moment. Discipline also multiplies your efforts, so progress increases exponentially over time. You'll look back, weeks, months, even years from when you started, standing in awe of your evolution from the day you decided to make a change. The gratification of these regular wins triggers the reward system in our brain by releasing dopamine. This further reinforces the positive emotions associated with accomplishment, leading to the creation of new neural pathways and new habit formation. As this positive feedback loop begins to shift our perspective, you begin to see the world through a new lens where new potentials exist, and new ideas populate your mind about what is possible for yourself. As you begin to think more expansively, you tap into a deeper part of yourself, your curiosity and creativity, which are my final two core values. Curiosity is the desire to learn or understand. It's when you ask, why? And paradoxically, it can arise out of the structure of discipline. As you experience the positive emotions of achievement, you seek more ways to evolve personally, or you look outward to find ways to help others. Your sense of wonder also increases. You become more inquisitive. You seek to understand and discover new aspects about yourself, others, and the world around you. It naturally takes you into a creative state where your curiosity manifests itself through the creation of new ideas, things, or ways of being. The ability to create, which I view as the ability to bring an idea or thought into form, is the ultimate self-expression. It gives you energy. It makes you feel alive. It can give you a greater purpose in life. This is why it gives me so much pleasure to make this video. I get to create this piece of content as a culmination of my knowledge and life experiences. And to share it with you, I am truly grateful. In conclusion, I want to thank you for sharing your time and energy to watch this video. Even though my expertise is focused on physical health and fitness, I would be remiss if I didn't speak to the core values that ground me as the person I am today. They are foundational for everything I want to teach and create on this channel, and how I strive to show up for you, the viewer. I hope that this resonates with you and maybe even inspires you to reflect on your core values and how you're living your life as well. For part 2 of my core value series, I'll go over the things I value most in life next and why I think you should place a high value on them as well. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share with others, and leave a comment with your questions or thoughts on the matter. I would love to hear your feedback. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.